Esther has been having fun with friends and staff at the center in Burnie. Some of you have been there and you know that there's a really beautiful pond. It's manufactured, it's not real, but it has some headwaters that are pumped from the well, and it flows down some riverbanks into a bigger pond, and then that pond has some suction pipes in the bottom of it that pull the water into a filter. And then the filter does its thing, sifts out impurities, aerates, and puts the water back into the pond through a series of pipes. And when it's all working well, the pond is as clear as a mountain stream. There are koi fish in it and goldfish and a catfish or two, or at least there were. The pond is an active thing. But then it started to get cloudy. People came, they assessed it, they put bigger pumps in, still cloudy. And finally it was determined that the pipes putting the water back were clogged. Not just a little, a lot. Caliche, solid. So step one was happening. The asking was happening. The water was being called out. Step two was happening. Source was answering it, was being filtered, spinning in the vortex. But step three was not happening because the pipes were clogged. And even though everything was working to give back to this pond what it was asking for, the clogged pipes prevented it from coming. And so, with a lot of effort, people were working on unclogging those pipes. Snakes, sticks, metal things. Nothing worked. They were really, really clogged from years of neglect. And so it was decided, since the pond is precious, so are the fish, why not lay new pipes? Esther said, sounds like a good idea to me. Someone said, let's lay them on top of the ground. Why bury them before we're sure it works? So new pipes were laid on top of the ground. And now, step one is happening, step two is happening, step three is happening. No more clogged pipes. The pond is thriving again. And we want to ask you, what do you think about just laying some new pipes? Because often, step one is happening. Your life is causing you to ask, in many cases, with more power and fervor, with more determination, with more desire than ever before. You're asking. Oh, you're really asking. And step two is happening. Source is doing its part. Source is knowing what you're asking for, lining up with it, becoming the vibrational equivalent of it, orchestrating circumstances and events, lining up all kinds of unfoldings. All cooperative components have been gathered. Everything's working for you, giving back to you precisely what you have asked for, with more definition and more deliberateness and more power and more love than you have any capacity to even begin to understand. But if your pipes are clogged up, if you're all bound up in habits of thought that don't resonate with the flowing that you are asking for, then you don't get the results you want. And you assume that there are things out of whack that are not out of whack. Sometimes you assume you're not worthy. Sometimes you assume you didn't ask in the right way. Sometimes you assume it's inappropriate for you to ask. Or sometimes you assume that when you ask, no one's there to answer. Sometimes you assume that something's gone wrong with the system, or that Abraham is completely crazy. You assume that a lot. Sometimes you assume that it's impossible. Sometimes you assume that you're defeated. Sometimes you feel like giving up. Sometimes you say, no more fun on this regard because I'm not getting any movement. So something is so out of whack. And we say, there's only ever only one thing out of whack. Because you can't stop asking and source never stops answering. But sometimes you get yourself bound up in a series of habits of thoughts. That's all a belief is a thought that you keep thinking. And you practice the thought, and law of attraction helps you practice it. Because when you get going on a thought's a vibration, you know. When you pick a vibration and you focus upon it just for a little while, law of attraction brings more like it. And as more like that come, it's easier for you to think more like that than anything else, until you get a pattern of vibration going that the current is so strong that even though source energy, even though your inner being, even though the power of your question, even though everything is in place, even though everything is always working out for you, even though you are never denied, even though you are never ignored, even though there is nothing ever wrong with your request, you have clogged pipes. So your results are it doesn't flow, and then your assumption is screwy. We think from this point forward, whether you like this analogy or not, we adore it. You're going to be thinking about your own clogged pipes. If you've been listening to us for a while, we've offered to you a lot of different analogies to help you understand who you are, who we are, and how we all fit together in this creative process. We explained to you that you are more than these physical bodies, that you are source energy, that you are extensions of source energy. But for the most part, humans don't accept that because you've practiced other bogus thoughts for so long that you do not accept easily that you are source energy in physical form. So even though we say it, your pipes are clogged and you do not hear it. Even though we know it, your pipes are clogged and you do not know it. So instead of looking for evidence of being blessed and evidence for things working out for you, you see evidence of otherwise, and then you focus there, practice a vibration of that, and hold your pipes in a more clogged position just to prove to yourself that you were right after all, that you are not blessed. And it turns out that the more not blessed you feel, the more you ask for blessings, the more those pipes suck. And the more you ask for blessings, for clarity, for solutions, the more you ask for mates and lovers and money, the more you ask for cooperation and fulfillment and love, the more you ask for it, the more is summoned on your behalf, the more is orchestrated on your behalf, and the more is delivered to you on your behalf. But if your pipes are clogged, you look just like that big old pressure pump. Instead of operating at 8 pounds of pressure, you get up around 40 and 50 and you look like you're going to explode. Because you can't stop asking. Oh, you think you can. You say, never mind, but you don't mean it. And you cannot step back from the asking that your life has caused you to come to. You can't step back. You can't say, I wanted it then, but I don't want it now. Oh, you can say it, but you can't mean it. Because if this time-space reality has caused this expansion or evolution within you, that's who you now are. You got to find a way to let the pressure off your own pump, you see.